Okay, now we're in book 3, and this is after the rock prelude number 2, which was the kind of arpeggio thing. This is, again, the blues scale, the pentatonic scale, but instead of A minor that we learned before, here it's in E minor with open strings. So the open string takes the place of what we had up here as the first finger notes. So here, up here we did fingers 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. And the root was this 1, this 3 on the 4th string, and this 1 on the 1st string. Now, in the key of E, again, all those first finger notes are now open strings. So instead of going 1, 4, we're going O, 3, O, 2. And the finger and the frets match. So it's 3rd fret, 3rd finger, open, 2nd fret, 2nd finger. And that's, so it's the same scale, but we adapt it to the open strings. And that's a little bit tricky if you're not, if you're playing, like with this pattern, we can play in the key of A, or I can move it 2 frets down, and now I'm in the key of G, or I'm in the key of F, and now we're in the key of E with open strings. So you have to adapt to those open strings, and you get used to it, because we a lot of times play blues in E, and the open strings are very common to use. So let's try the scale slowly, with starting with the low root. And let me talk about the roots. Again, in the key of A, the root was here, 4th string, octave higher, and 1st string, an octave higher than the 4th string. Here it's open 6th string, 2nd fret of the 4th string. Those are all E's, which are the root of an E minor pentatonic scale. E, E, 2nd fret, and then the open 1st string, E. That might be a little louder too. I think it's okay. So anyway, the starting with the low E, let's try it together. Ready, go. Open, 3rd fret, O, 2, O, 2, O, 2, O, 3, O, 3. Now going back down the scale. 2, O, 2, O, 2, O, 3, O. Okay? Let's try that one more time. All right? Wouldn't hurt. So ready, go. O, 3, O, 2. Back down. Watch the string changes. I did a little tease, a little pull, and those are blue notes. You can do that on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, or you can do it on the, I'm pulling that, and when I do it on the 1st string, I'm pushing it. And you can push the 3rd fret of the 2nd string as well On the third string, you can pull or push. Usually I'd push, but occasionally I might pull. On the third string, you could go either way. I wouldn't pull the roots, because that's a little weird, you know, unless you're doing psychedelic music from the late 60s, you know. But, and I wouldn't pull the second fret of the fifth string. But any of the other ones, except for the fourth and fifth string, you can pull or push. And learn to improvise mainly around the roots. And that second fret of the fourth string, that's a good note to play around. Also the open first string. So try to make up licks, make up short licks, you know. That could be a lick, you know, or I wouldn't skip around too much, because that could sound funny. Like if you went, you know, might sound, but generally you go from one note to the next higher or lower note. But you can repeat notes. Connecting the dots, you know, you go from one dot to the next dot or to the previous dot, and just have fun with it. Don't overthink it, you know, don't overthink it. Just try to follow it by ear. And it's a very melodic scale. So it's once you know this pattern, which is a fairly easy pattern, just the possibilities are limitless. You almost don't have to have a brain to play this scale. You know, you have to have a little bit of a brain, but it's kind of like a Kentucky dulcimer. Every fret is a scale tone, and you can play anything, and it sounds wonderful. You know, and but so now for the chords, and in a minute, I'm going to just play the rhythm so that you can improvise with the scale and play the lead part over my rhythm. But I've given you a little bit of a challenge with these chords. Instead of doing a regular E7 with, it's like an E major with the pinky added, here we're simplifying it and doing fingers 2, 1, and 4, rather than 2, 3, 1, and 4. So it's you can see the chart at the bottom of the page if you have my book. The second finger, though, needs to always touch the fifth string and deaden the fifth string. Otherwise, you get a really weird sound like an off key. That fifth string will be a wrong note. So you want to, just with the side of your second finger, touch the fifth string, okay? And then, so that's, I call it a half E7. That's just my term for it. And then the A7 is the clamped A that we've done before, where the first finger is kind of like a capo. It clamps the second fret of the third and fourth strings, and then the second finger comes in on the second fret of the second string. So it's second finger, second fret, second string. And then the pinky is on the third fret of the first string. So it's like fingers 1, 1, 2, 4. We've done that chord several times if you followed through my books. Now, the B7, instead of a regular B7, it's a little sour, sorry about that. We're going to do a B ninth, and that's a little more challenging if you're not used to it. Your third finger is going to bar or clamp down on the second fret of the first, second, and third strings, and then you have to kind of reach over and bend, have your second and first fingers normally bent. And it works best if you kind of make an L shape with your third finger, kind of like that. And then also kind of roll the third finger to the right side a little bit. And then it's like the second and first fingers are crossing over it. And so I think it would be good to put the third finger down first if you're not used to this chord, and then put maybe the second finger or the first finger and then the second finger. And make sure the second finger, just to add something else to this, your second finger needs to touch the sixth string and mute it. Otherwise you'll get a similar wrong note sound like this, like that you don't want. You just want that muted. And it's similar to that, the second finger muting the fifth string on the E7. Okay, so some special chord fingerings for this 12-bar blues in E. And I'm going to just go through the 12-bar blues just to finish the lesson. And I want you to just play around with this scale. And you can almost hit any note in the scale as long as you're staying with the right notes of the scale. You can almost hit any note and it's going to sound okay. The more you know about where the roots are and of each chord, the more you can, have, and as you have more experience, you'll be able to make up licks. And if you make up a lick that you like, it might be good to record yourself and see if you can, sometimes it's hard to remember. I'll come up with something I think is really, great, and then like 10 minutes later, what was that I played? If I didn't record it, then it's gone, So, and you just hope to find it again sometime. But I wouldn't overthink it, just have fun with it. See, I'm just playing around. You can play around with bending some of these notes. A string skip every now and then sounds good, but you kind of have to know what you're doing. You have to kind of hear it. And eventually you'll be able to hear the notes and anticipate where you're going and what it's going to sound like even before you play it, when you really get to know the scale. But it takes a lot of improvising and working with it. So again, I'm going to play the rhythm guitar while you play the lead guitar. And you could also come back and practice the rhythm with these unusual chord fingerings. Really, they're not so unusual. A lot of blues guys did a E7 like this, because you'd end up with the second finger on there, not the third finger. Like, you wouldn't go like, and then put the third finger. It'd be second finger. And that's why it's such a good fingering. It's a practical fingering for blues licks when you're mixing licks with chords, Okay, so 12-bar blues. I'm going to count off a measure and then start playing the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. shuffle rhythms. You can do that with your lead guitar. You don't have to play constant eighth notes, constant triplets. Ended on E7. So, just try different licks. One thing you can do by yourself is to strum a chord like the E7 and then do a short lick and then do A7 and then maybe do the same lick with a little variation, and then E7, A7, A7, and I'm just playing around. So you could just, kind of strum a chord and then do a lick. And that helps to get to where you're thinking in phrases. The one thing you don't want to do when you're improvising is constantly ramble. It's like somebody who writes a term paper and doesn't put any periods or any punctuation and just writes constant stream of letters and words with no punctuation, no paragraphs or anything. In music, we have punctuation, just like in written prose and poetry. You have a statement. See, you could do something like that, and then do a. Maybe do a longer lick, but each statement is like when you're talking, you say sentences, and each sentence, each phrase has a beginning, a middle, and an end, no matter how short it is, no matter how long it is. And you can vary the length, and strumming the chord in between really breaks it up. So, you've got E7. I'm playing off that E on the fourth string. A7. And then back to E7. So you can make a phrase out of just two different notes. Bum, 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 bum. And if you play it with authority, it's a statement, and it's sort of like a conversation. So, but what you want to avoid is you want to avoid just sort of endless rambling, Maybe in the beginning when you're just learning the notes, you have to ramble a little bit, but as you get to know the scale, try to actually say something with it, and that's sort of what the direction that you want to go. So enjoy it, just have fun with it. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Don't Don't stress out or anything like that. It's very simple and fun to improvise and just make up something on the spot. Record yourself. If you can record yourself, then listen back to it later. Maybe not, don't listen back to it right after you record it, but wait a couple hours or maybe later that day and listen. And maybe you could hear some things that you could improve on, maybe your rhythm. And that's another thing, is that I was kind of playing mostly a triplet rhythm, but you want to use like shuffle, like 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, bum, bum, shuffle and triplets. See, and that go along with the chords. You want to make sure you're not doing a rhythm that's totally alien to what I was strumming on the 12-bar blues. Because we're thinking that you got to get a feel for that rhythm. Bop, 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 and then try to, and you don't have to constantly play fast notes, but you can shuffle like 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Put in a triplet every now and then, and break it up. So enjoy, subscribe, like my video, and I hope you have a lot of fun with the E minor pentatonic scale. I'll see you in the next video. Okay?